What's going on, Lakers fans, and welcome into episode 39 of the Lakeshow Flow. I am your host, Gio. As the Lakers continue to get back on track, winning their second game in back-to-back days, beating the Spurs 125-109. Before I get into the game, though, I just want to say, if you're new here or you've been here, please support the channel, leave a like on the video, leave me a comment, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you are one of the ones that are new here. But as I said, the Lakers are continuing to move back in the right direction. It was a back-to-back game, so wasn't too sure if Luka was going to play. Austin seems to play every back-to-back, so I wasn't too worried about him. We had some hope that Rui would be back, but he's still progressing through his injury. I believe he did 3-on-3 workouts already, so he's starting to get himself back into shape, and hopefully by some grace of God, he can get back on the court and play against the Nuggets, or at least the back-to-back against the Bucks, because those two matchups are going to be key in a lot of different ways. They just beat us. Both of those teams beat the Lakers, including that heartbreak that the Lakers suffered to the Nuggets. So it's going to be key to continue to get not new players, but guys back in the rotation. It's going to feel almost like a new team again, because they do kind of need that breath of fresh air again. Although Luka and Reeves, they continue to carry this team in their own ways. Their duo chemistry is starting to look really good. Luka today didn't seem like he ever had his legs really under him. It was the fourth game in 5 days, so I don't really blame him. He's already playing a little hampered by injuries. He always gets bumped, and it seems like he always gets something. Some injury, a little knick-knack injury, a little twisted ankle, like I said in the last episode. He's dealing with a lot, including having more on his shoulders without LeBron in the lineup at all. But thankfully, we got our other white boy, Austin Reeves, who just continues to be a revelation. He would be, selfishly, I would vote him for most improved player of the year, just given the fact that he was not supposed to be this good. He goes undrafted, the Lakers find him, and we've only seen him get better as the years have gone by. And to me, that's a reason to say, okay, based on body of work, based on expectation, Austin Reeves is the most improved player. Like, there's no other way that I look at it. But to give him his credit, Cade Cunningham is starting to look like a bona fide, like a different level of superstar. But he was the number one overall pick. So, I don't know. To me, Austin Reeves should be the most improved player this year. But in our hearts, in Lakers purple and gold hearts, he's going to be the most improved player, because he just continues to carry the load, even when Luka's struggling. Because today, like I said, Luka couldn't really get his legs under him. He was very inefficient from the field. But what's funny is when Luka has a inefficient game, he still affects the game through passing, through rebounding, through getting to the foul line. Because the thing is, on the floor, his shooting was pretty abysmal. I'm going to find this for you guys. For some reason, I had the stats here. I had the stats based on efficiency, but we're having a little technical difficulties here. But like I said, when he's not shooting the ball well, he finds a way, and today was no different. So now that I finally pulled this up, he ends up with 21 points only, but he had 9 rebounds and 14 assists, and he was only 5 for 20 on his field goals, 1 for 7 from beyond the arc. But like I said, he found ways to score. He had 10 of 13 free throws. I thought today he had one of the best whistles that I've seen him have as a Laker so far. The referees were actually cutting him some slack and getting him to the line. And I thought that was good. Austin had a terrible whistle, ironically, and he's the player who ended up playing way more efficient. He ends up shooting 12 for 21 from the field. He made 5 out of his 13 threes, and he finishes the game with 30 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds to go along with 2 steals. Luka had 3 of them things and a block. So, like I said, these two white boys getting the job done as a duo. But I heard something very interesting today. Our third white boy, our rookie, Dalton Connect, continues to find his rhythm again. He kind of had to knock off some dust when he almost got traded. It seemed like he just had to knock off that dust and really just find his confidence within this team again. But today, he had 13 points with 2 for 7 from his threes, and people are calling that trio the Snow Time trio. And it's just funny because if you've been a Laker fan, you know what Showtime basketball was. You know what that is. It happened when Magic was running the show, and they called it Showtime because the Lakers. That's always been something too, though. We've had moments of Showtime when we had Kobe and Shaq, when we had Kobe and Gasol, now when we had LeBron and AD, and then obviously with Luka and LeBron, two of the best passers ever, we got Showtime. But when we got this little trio here of white boys playing, people are calling it Snow Time. I just thought that was hilarious. But it's a revelation to see Dalton also start to step up. But speaking of revelations, this man, Jordan Goodwin, who's been starting the last few games because of the injury to Rui, and I love the move that JJ has made. He dropped 15 today, and he shot 3 for 6 from threes with 3 steals, 3 assists. He's a great rebounder for a guard. He got 4 rebounds. But Jordan Goodwin needs to be signed to this team as soon as they could just possibly do it, because he's just a guy that's going to be in the rotation, that's going to make an impact going forward. And you just love to see it because he doesn't have the typical story of being, this prospect that's just going to expected to shine. And it's kind of like Austin Reeves. I feel like even they have a little bond. They both praise each other. Like Austin said, there's no reason why he doesn't have like a contract with all these teams in the league, 30 teams in the league. There's no reason why he shouldn't be signed already. And the Lakers got a gem in that regard. And then Goodwin returned the favor with comments after today's game. And he said that Austin Reeves is the best. Like, he's our number 3 guy, but he's better than even some people's number 1 and number 2 guys. Like, they're really complimentary of each other. And I think, to me, that's how you build chemistry. When guys are supportive, when guys understand what it's like to be an underdog, I think they relate to each other. They have that grit. They have that dog in them. And you see that just firsthand with Jordan Goodwin. He pretty much just wreaks havoc. Even yesterday's game, a lot of people were saying, like, what is JJ talking about? Because he praised and singled out Goodwin. But it's the stuff you don't see on the stat sheet. And yeah, maybe he had a few turnovers, and maybe he makes, some crazy plays sometimes that could be, regrettable. But all in all, he's making hustle plays. He's a dog. Like, you want him to take those same risks that make him great. They're going to show up on the bad side sometimes. But you live and die with that sometimes, But Jordan Goodwin, just a hell of a player, continuing to do great. And Gabe Vincent, 3 for 5 from threes, and he had 11 points, and he had 2 steals himself too. The Lakers get so many damn steals. It's pretty crazy. I just love the defensive schemes. Like, even like tonight, they should have beat the Spurs, right? Like, they don't have their 2 stars. They don't have Wemby. They don't have De'Aaron Fox. They're not big enough really to, they don't have the size to really shut down the Lakers offense. But the Lakers got it done, like I said. But they continue to not play down to the competition, at least. I mean, they've been guilty of that before with the Jazz loss and then also the loss to the Hornets. But lately, they've been really playing like the same game, even to a fault in a way, because JJ keeps the starters out there just to maintain the lead in the fourth. A little too long. I feel like you could have pulled them a little earlier, but I kind of like the mindset at the same time. You got to treat every opponent with respect, because every team is an NBA team. It's the best of the best in the world, right? So yeah, I kind of I understand what it is. You just want to build those good habits, and the Lakers have been doing a good job of that. They started off a little slow. It was 9-2 in the beginning of the game, but once they got their legs under them, they started to just take control. They took over, and like I said, even despite Luka not being able to have his legs under him fully for this back-to-back, he had the backup of Reeves. He had the bench players just making, or not even just bench players, but the role players in general just making their shots. I didn't even mention Dorian Finney-Smith. He dropped his second straight double-digit game, 15 points with 4 for 8 from threes. He's starting to knock those down, and I think that's going to make the biggest difference when they're having these game plans where yesterday Jackson Hayes was able to just go off because they didn't stop it. When they have those type of game plans where they're starting to focus on Jackson Hayes rolling to the basket, it's obviously going to open up the game, but all the shooters that Luka has to end up deferring to, those guys got to make shots, especially when Luka doesn't have it. And thankfully, the shots were falling, and the Lakers were just able to pull away, keep control. Even though the Spurs are a young team, they're getting after it a little bit. Even CP3's old ass was making threes and, cutting the lead down a little bit. But all in all, the Lakers held the lead for most of the game, and they just won a game that they're supposed to win. They have a very important matchup on Wednesday against Denver. We were kind of depending on the Warriors beating Denver tonight, but for some reason they couldn't get it done, even though the Nuggets did not have Jokic or Murray. And, to surprise of no one, Jokic and Murray are resting this game, but they're going to be ready to go on Wednesday against the Lakers just to make that as painful as possible for the Lakers to have to go through. But I have confidence. I mean, this team has a bone to pick after that heartbreak, like I mentioned, against Denver with Reeves, and it was just Reeves and all the role players and no other star on the court, right? And they shined. They almost beat Denver, but JJ talked about how their heart was broken after that game, and they still returned 36 hours later, I believe it was, and they played that great game on yesterday, against the Suns, and they followed up with this win. So now they get a day to rest, and then they got to play Denver on Wednesday at home. So hopefully we send them packing with a nice little ass whooping that they should have got today, but I'm really hoping that Luka can get enough rest, can also, just seem more like himself in that game. He had this game that I feel like, okay, you weren't shooting the best. He did close the game pretty well. He was forcing the issue at the end, getting two really nice, clean layups, and also getting to the line when he needed to. But we're going to need top-notch Luka. And then Reeves, obviously, I think I could expect 30 plus from Reeves against that Denver defense, because they're going to have so much focus on Luka, and then the other players got to make shots too, and the role players shoot better at home, so that's going to come into play. But Reeves, I think, is going to have every opportunity to get revenge, and I think we run them out of the building. That's just a bold take. I think they got lucky with this one against Golden State. They just lost to the Wizards, so this would have been really disappointing if they lost this game. But since they beat the Warriors tonight, I just really think they're hot and ready for the taking, like a Little Caesars pizza. You know what I mean? And I don't even know where that reference came from, but that's what's happening. I really feel like the Lakers are going to win by at least 15, right? But we'll see. It's all to be determined. But like I said, today's game, very cut and dry, to the point. We have the revelation of Goodwin, the revelation of the improvement of Austin Reeves. Luka, like I said, nothing to write home about, but he still walks on the court and almost gets a 15 assists, triple-double just by existing, And I'm just excited about the team going forward, because we got Rui coming back hopefully on Wednesday. That would make a big difference. And then we have LeBron hopefully back by the weekend. So there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to look forward to with this team, and they're winning the games that they need to win. They're getting momentum back. After that 4-game skid, they shouldn't have lost to Brooklyn in that stretch. They could have beat Denver. It could have been a 2-2 road trip, but instead it was 0-4. A lot of people were worried, like I said yesterday, but we're back on track, and that's what truly matters. So, outside of today's game, though, selfishly, I'm going to vent a little bit to you guys, whoever listens to this, and I appreciate your ears for a second. I mentioned something on the last podcast about a Twitter post that I replied to regarding the killer instinct, quote unquote, that Luka Doncic brings to the Lakers, and how that compares to Kobe Bryant, that was on the team, for years, for his entire career. And I got a little bit of pushback from a few people, more people than I expected. And I wasn't even the one who made the original post. I was just a commenter, and they got a bone to pick with me, apparently. And all I said, and like I mentioned yesterday, I just said that it's great to have this type of killer mentality that we haven't had on this team since Kobe. In that same tweet, I said, I love Bron. I said, Bron is Bron, and I love him. So here's the thing. It's just a weird era that we live in, where there's not many people that are actually fans of a team. And I feel like everyone wants to be on the winning side at the right times, so they like to jump ship with their favorite teams, right? I mean, with their favorite, pretty much like picking a new favorite team based on what player is on that team, right? And I mean, shout out to my cousin Calissa. Her mom, my aunt, listens to this podcast, and she's more of a player fan than anything, and that's fine. But I don't really have to get into these debates with her, because she's a little more rational. She loves LeBron too. But if I explain this to her, I'm sure she wouldn't push back. But anyways, these people on Twitter, they're trying to they get on my case about how this whole narrative that I'm going with is just ridiculous, and LeBron is a killer, and LeBron has a killer instinct. And then one of them threw the stat at me saying like Kobe and Jordan, they're actually not as efficient on those game winners. And I'm like, okay, we're talking about efficiency on game winners right now, when all I mentioned to that guy, or to just on the post too, was that yes, LeBron, you have to have a killer in you, right? You have to be a killer. You have to have that instinct to be in the position that LeBron is in, to have the hardware that LeBron has, to have the resume that LeBron has, to be considered one of the greats like LeBron is. I get it. So I clarified and said, listen, LeBron is a killer in his own right? But one of my main points is, when's the last time you saw LeBron James yelling and screaming at someone's bench or anything like that? Like the way Luka does. Kobe had the Mamba face. You saw that intensity on his face. It was written all over. Kobe would start talking trash too. Like, we don't see that with LeBron, and it's okay. We love him for it. We love LeBron for who he is. We love LeBron on the Lakers. As a Laker fan and Laker fans alike, we all love LeBron for who he is. We didn't ask him to be Kobe. He came at the end of his career, right? Like closer to the end. We knew who LeBron was. But we get to see this younger guy, Luka, come in, and I guarantee you, shout out to my boy Joe, my co-host. He's deployed right now. He's in the Navy. He'll be back on here soon. But he loved Luka because of that intensity, because of that trash talk, because he had that Mamba mentality. LeBron came with his own brand. We didn't expect him to be Kobe. We didn't expect that. We knew what we were getting. LeBron's a silent killer. LeBron doesn't have to yell at your bench. LeBron is meticulous. LeBron is cerebral. So you can argue, yeah, maybe that's a little more dangerous. You don't know if he's going to pass the ball. Well, someone mentioned that. You don't know if he's going to pass it. You don't know if he's going to score himself. Okay, great. Like, I could argue and say, well, Kobe was an underrated passer too, so he still had that threat, And so anyways, but the point is, LeBron, even his celebration is called the silencer. And I get it. It's to silence the crowd. It's to silence the other team. But he does it in silence. He's not yelling. He's not screaming at the other players. He's not screaming at the fans the way Luka does. And I tried to clarify, LeBron doesn't play with the same pettiness and hatred for certain teams the way Luka and Kobe did. And that is okay. Once again, it doesn't mean that by uplifting Kobe and Luka to a different tier where they are, and then, understanding that arguably LeBron has to be a tier higher if you're really going to be technical. I get it. I can't really argue. Even though Kobe's my GOAT, I can't put him above LeBron as much as I'd like to. That's fine. But the point is, players are different for a reason, and we can love different things for a reason. I could say the same thing about Magic Johnson. He wasn't a killer the way Kobe was. Who cares? I still love, when I look back at the history, I didn't see Magic play, but I respect him and I love him as a Laker, right? So anyways, that was a selfish tangent I had to talk about. Shout out to the pettiest Laker fan on Twitter. He's the guy that made the original post. And we're Laker fans first. And I think that is what really makes it hard to talk to these fans that are they're player first, and they can't wait to hop on Twitter. They log on and they just look for certain people. One little comment could affect their entire day, where they have to just defend LeBron as if it had anything to do with taking anything from LeBron. So I can admit, maybe the way I worded it, it could have been taken out of context, because I said that, he has this killer instinct. I wrote it in bold that we haven't had since Kobe. So I guess maybe it triggered them because they watch all those ESPN debate shows, because it's really debate culture. They watch all those, debate shows, and they're so used to, Stephen A. and all these other naysayers towards LeBron, and it's what they get paid for. They're signing freaking contracts that are almost as fat as player contracts, and that's why, because they know how to trigger people, right? Same thing with like Charles Barkley. Like, they're paid to be controversial, and these people are taking my comment as I'm one of them or something, and I'm like, no. I love LeBron. I'm never going to say no, he's never going to be Kobe. I'm never going to hit him with that LeBron line, like, you ain't Kobe Bryant to us. Like, I'm not, I don't know. I had to address that selfishly because, I happen to have a very small platform to be able to speak this. And I could always just refer and then get some free promo out of that. I'll just post it on the thread if they respond again and be like, hey, look, I mentioned it again. Like, I already posted the other link. So it is what it is. But since this game was so easy to talk about with the Lakers and Spurs tonight, I just had to mention this little Twitter beef that I had for no reason. Like I said, I'm a Laker fan first. I love every player that is put on that purple and gold armor. I love that, right? I love every single player that's put it on. You know, there's a few exceptions that, I mean, I can't love certain ones that end bad. You know what I mean? We had Dwight Howard that broke my heart when I want him to re-sign. And, you know, he came back and redeemed himself. But, you know, I don't see that happening with Russell Westbrook, though. So it's hard to say I love Westbrook or Westbrook during that era. But I hated Rajon Rondo until he came here and he made a big difference winning a championship with the Lakers. I will never forget that. And I have a different view of Rondo now. So it's all about the team first. I don't care what jersey they put on before. If Jason Tatum becomes a Laker, I'm going to love him even though I don't like him right now. You know what I mean? He's a Celtic, right? So anyways, like I said, the Lakers have a back-to-back coming up this week against Denver first and then Milwaukee the very next night. So it's the opposite of last week where they played the Bucks first and then Denver. So now you get the Uno reverse. But it's crazy. Hopefully this week everyone comes out of the week unscathed. Hopefully everyone is not injured and everybody's okay, because we're going to need them for the home stretch and for the playoff stretch. Like getting into the playoffs, you want that chemistry. You want as many reps with your main rotation as possible. And that's what I'm hoping we get. Hopefully we have Rui for at least one of those games. And then, I mean, at the very latest, we have him for the weekend games, along with LeBron James. Apparently he might be ahead of schedule. So hoping to get those guys back. And yeah, I apologize if you guys tune me out during my little Twitter beef I mentioned, but I had to. I just had to get into it. And it is what it is. But like I keep saying, if you are new here or you've been here, please support the channel. We appreciate all support, any criticisms. I wish some of them would come in and make this video go semi-viral, because they keep clicking on it to leave me a comment. I wish that would happen. But either way, you know, I'm happy to share that with people that do listen to this. But like I said, you know, like the video, share it, leave a comment, subscribe if you are new, and we'll be right back with some more Laker content as soon as Wednesday's game happens. And that's going to be a big one. But this is going to be it for the Lakeshow Flow, and we'll see you guys next time.